So we're hearing more about the lockdown's bad effects on children's mental states. But that's only half the equation. Sure, they missed out on team sports, playgrounds, and field trips. My rooftop petting zoo was a disaster. All the goats jumped. But what did the kids replace this with? Well, I'll give you a hint. It wasn't Twister. It's something made in China. Not cheap lawn furniture or COVID itself. I'm talking TikTok, which is aptly named for a time bomb. And what do you get from TikTok? You get teachers like this.
Hey, if your parents don't love and accept you for who you are this Christmas, now. I'm your parents now. I'm proud of you. Drink some water. I love you. Bye.
With parents like that, who needs Woody Allen? That person has since resigned to the fact that he's crazy. Anyway, he's probably already got a job at Disney. He'll be VP in charge of grooming. I mean recruitment. Maybe they dress like mice so witnesses don't have a description. But that's not the only nutcase on TikTok. The app is a nonstop faucet of unstable creeps, like an NYC subway, but with a direct line into your kid's room. Next stop, Brainwashed Boulevard. Take a look.
Man, y'all thought me teaching the children about me being poly was crazy. But not only that, but they also know that I'm gender fluid.
So when babies are born, the doctor looks at them and they make a guess about whether the baby is a boy or a girl based on what they look like. And most of the time that guess is 100% correct. There are no issues whatsoever. But sometimes the doctor is wrong.
I teach my elementary school students about gender identity. Some people are girls, some are boys, some are both, some are neither.
Why do they all have crazy eyes? That should tell you something. So, much like adult progressives, kids don't have fully formed brains. And this is what they see every day. God knows, if I got that sort of input when I was young, who knows how I would have ended up today. But the destructive influence social media has on kids has gotten so bad that even people on the other side of things see that it's bad. But maybe kids eating Tide Pods, it should have been a tip-off. The LA Times published a story about transgender clinical psychologist Erica Anderson, who's helped hundreds of teens aiming to transition from one gender to another. In the piece, she wonders whether this surge in teens announcing they're trans is egged on by social media, and that so-called experts are failing to evaluate these kids properly. And no, doctors can't use the "I'm not a biologist" excuse. Instead, they recommend hormones or surgeries. Now, that might be fine for Caitlyn Jenner, but not for kids. It's not that we're anti-trans, we're just pro-age appropriateness. And it's a concern. Why the interest in the genders of strangers' kids all of a sudden? Now, Anderson is at the forefront of transgender care, and even she says this doesn't make sense. She's seen more than a doubling in new patients from 2019 to 2021. She notes the pattern. Kids are in quarantine with lots of free time to spend on social media. Quote, online, a stream of transgender influencers and activists told teens that if they felt uncomfortable with their bodies or didn't fit in, story of my life, maybe they were trans. Some coached kids on how to bind their breasts, how to change their name and pronouns at school, how to push their parents for testosterone. So that's from a trans expert who is trans. She concludes, any social influence in formation of gender identity flies in the face of reality. So step back and look at what's happening. You have Disney and its supportive media mocking and shaming parents for wanting what's best for their young kids. You have teachers pushing curriculum that encourages kids to ask for hormone blockers to suppress their puberty. Maybe they want to delay adulthood to keep indoctrinating them. You have anyone who dare mention biological sex in public be deemed transphobic. Somehow mother became offensive without being followed by the F word. You have criminals changing gender to get into women's prisons, which is ridiculous. Just put on a wig and hide in one of the laundry carts like I do. So where is all this coming from? It's very sudden. You know, I get the adults. People like U.S. Assistant Secretary for Health Rachel Levine transitioned from male to female in her 50s. Clearly, she thought a lot about it. So did Caitlyn Jenner. We're not talking about that. We're talking about kids and what feels like a social phenomenon and not a biological one, a gender version of Tide Pods. You know, I'm doing it. Why aren't you? The longer we deny this, the more kids will fall under the spell of influencers, then the knives of doctors who forgot the Hippocratic Oath. Kids are confused. They're vulnerable. They're scared, desperate to belong, desperate to feel special. They still have to be told not to put their fingers in outlets. They're literally made for grooming. And who's doing it? Maybe check your kid's computer search history. The call is coming from inside the house. While mom and dad are at work, vulnerable and naturally confused kids go on TikTok, where attentive persuasion awaits. It's most effective on vulnerable kids desperate to fit in somewhere. I bet Disney's mad they didn't think of it first. Look, you don't have to listen to me about this. I got no kids. Last time I checked, I'm a straight white male. I used a full-length mirror. But listen to the trans clinical psychologist, who ironically has the stones few others have. And when she's sounding the alarm, it's like Keith Richards telling you, you have a drug problem. Ignore it at your own peril. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She placed 4th in the Miss USA pageant, and the other 3 have since met an untimely demise. Host of Fox News at Night and author of the new book, The Mothers and Daughters of the Bible Speak, Shannon Breed. When he approaches the bench, judges ask, how much you bench? Former acting attorney general Matt Whitaker. Her taxes are like her hair. Lots of extensions. Fox News contributor, Kat Tipp. And finally, he needs binoculars to see his toes. My massive sidekick and the NWA World Television Champion. It's because he's tall. Champion, Tyrus. Shannon, congrats on the new book. It gave me an idea. I'm writing a religious book.
I can't wait. Scallywags of the Bible?
Yes, it's Scallywags of the Bible. That was Nick. No, it's going to be called My Religious Book.
Okay.
I'm not joking.
On it. You could do that. You have a lot of thoughts.
I know. You have an index, and I noticed that God has like 300 entries, and there's not a single one for Gutfeld.
Well, duly noted.
Yes.
Take that for what it's
I don't think God is happy about that, because I'm one of his children.
Yes, you are.
You have no children, and yet I'm forcing you to ponder this interesting issue, this kind of like thing where everybody was worried about their kids not being outside, and they forgot to worry about what's inside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My mom was a teacher for 40+ years, and so I cannot imagine any of these conversations or discussions that were going on in her classroom. None of this, I think, was happening with Marie. But what I found so interesting is a couple of days ago, there was a piece, an opinion piece in the Washington Post by someone who did transition from male to female at the age of 19. And I thought the writer was so interesting because no one's going to know the experience better than them. And they said, I crowded everybody out of my life who would have questioned or hesitated or said, let's think about this. I only wanted 100% approval. And now I've made decisions I can't take back at such a young age. And I do have regrets. Would I have eventually transitioned? Maybe as an adult with a little bit more experience. But I don't think it was healthy for me to have all the power to do this as a teenager.
Kids make lousy decisions, man. I'm sure you made a ton of them growing up.
A few here and there.
You probably...
I think I heard Shannon say a bad word. She said scallywag.
Yes.
Which I don't...
Yes, I was offended as well.
Yeah.
HR is calling me right now.
Yeah, I don't think that was
first swear word I've ever heard Shannon say.
Yes, exactly.
Trash mouth.
Yes. Do you have kids, Matt?
I do.
Are they older, younger?
The youngest is 18.
Oh, okay. So they're free to make up their own minds.
Yeah, but what I see through their eyes is that social media is a mirror, and it feeds them what they're interested in, and what they linger on, they get more of. And that's what's really dangerous, because if someone is just, spends too much time looking at these transitioning videos, all of a sudden they're getting a steady diet of those types of things. And that's what's really insidious about the whole social media world.
It could be anything. It could be anything from anorexia or bad taste in music. Kat, not you. I'm kidding. But I do think, Tyrus, I want to go to Tyrus because you have kids, and this is something that
the state of Louisiana says I have 4. Yes.
You got to a couple things. You got to admit the psychologist, the trans psychologist, has a lot of guts to come out and say this after seeing. She said she saw so many startled parents that were showing up, going like, "My kid just announced he's trans," and they don't know what to do, what it means.
Yeah. When I was a child, I told my mother I was going to be the Incredible Hulk.
But that did come true.
Kind of worked out.
It did come true.
In a way, it did. You're not green.
No.
Well, you are green. Look at your tattoos.
Right.
Right. But it took time.
Yeah, it did take time.
So he's transitioning to the Hulk.
Right now.
He's mid-Hulk.
Yes.
Hulk.
So
You brought it up.
No, I'm just putting it out there. You know, that's what I identify as. So.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
So there, I came out.
Yes.
Everyone happy?
Yes.
Feel better. Kind of. So we have rules in this country. Like you can't, there's a reason why kids can't come home from second grade and crack a beer open and say, man, Dad, my day was the let me tell you about this, that, because, you know, they don't let them drink alcohol because their minds are developing.
Right.
So we say you got to be 18, right? You got to be 18 to vote. You got to be 18 to smoke. We have rules in place, not to be mean, because we're protecting the youth until they can make big decisions. That's exterior things. So, of course, you're going to want your children to grow and make a decision when their mind is ready to make decisions. The problem is we have leading experts on nothing, and all we have now on social media is projection. It's my world. It's the way I see things, and you all have to see things like me. And we have thousands of geniuses on there with nothing to back it up, except they like to film themselves a foot from their face.
Yes.
That is the criteria.
Yeah.
And you can make everything. There is 400-pound, 5-foot fitness trainers telling you if your doctor asks you your weight, tell him to go to hell.
Right.
Because he shouldn't ask you your weight, because you should be happy being as fat as you want to be.
That positivity.
So, yeah, so why wouldn't you then embrace being a deuce and a quarter?
Yeah.
You know, when you're 5'5". You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense because they have no business pushing their beliefs and their stuff on people.
Yeah.
And when someone else does it to them,
Yeah,
when someone says that I don't agree with your lifestyle, and in my household, for example, like I'm a science guy, but my kids might want to be in religion. I don't push my stuff on them.
Right.
I let them grow and figure it out, and it would be the same thing with their sexuality or any other thing. Unless it was detrimental to their health, then I would step in.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that no one's drawing lines in the sand saying, listen, you can preach your stuff, but keep it out of my household.
Yeah. Kat, if I imagine if TikTok was around when you were a child, what would have happened to you? Because right now, I mean, you're okay.
Yeah,
you're on the edge.
I was a remarkably androgynous child, both in terms of behavior and appearance.
Who did she look like? Remember, she looked like the second baseman from Bad News Bears.
Yes.
Yes.
And now
Tanner, you look
The
like
one with the
Tanner.
mouth, the one with
Tanner.
the trash mouth like her.
Yes, and now it kind of depends how many hair extensions I'm wearing. Like, I don't really have like a womanly shape. But honestly, yeah, back then, no, I told my mom at one point that I wanted a penis because I wanted to be able to pee outside easier, because I also liked peeing outside, because again, like totally androgynous. I am so glad nobody gave me one. Like, this transgender psychologist is saying, like, hey, like, I'm transgender, I help kids transition, but maybe, like, just wait.
Yeah.
Like, make sure. Like, that's something they tell people when they're gonna, like, buy a house.
Right.
I feel like getting new genitals is even more life-changing than that.
It is,
so maybe,
trust me.
Maybe kids. maybe
Once you get
kids
on the
should wait.
property ladder, you'll understand.
Yeah, I don't own any property. Sorry, no, we can't all be as rich as you.
No, you know what the point you're making is we're not anti-trans. It's about age appropriateness.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's getting lost in this debate, especially when Disney got involved and it was about a parental rights bill, and then all of us, you are anti-gay, you're no. Parents are just saying.
I would be a dude instead of a woman with a very dude-like vibe.
Yes.
Yeah, but you can be anti-you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I don't like you and your choices and how you present yourself. And how you pee standing up or sitting down is irrelevant.
Right.
I don't like you.
Yes.
And that's what they're trying to stop.
Exactly. And I want to be able to not like anybody I don't like.
I do it all the time.
You do. I don't think he likes me.
Is there anyone?
I think Greg sits to pee. I'm just saying.
Well,
Where
because
did
he
that
has
come from?
Yeah, because he's, well, you know, it's tough when you got to lean up. You know,
jeez,
so, yeah, it's probably easier. He has those little potty
turning on me.
stairs in there.
I'm going to go to TikTok.
Plus, how can you drink wine and tweet at the same time? Obviously, you got to sit down.
All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.